Well, when he was speaking for more than 21 hours, much like when Rand Paul was doing it for 13 hours not too long ago, some might have likened it to Revenge of the Wacko Birds. Some interpreted that as a disparaging comment by the likes of John McCain, who will be joining us later, on these new upstart, rebellious, rowdy Republicans, these Tea Partiers who are crashing the place, maybe messing up the place. I think Rand Paul would disagree with that. He joins me right now. Senator, what do you make of that? That this is a little bit more than taking on a budget issue. This is actually searching for the soul of the party.
Well, I think we need some disruption up here. I think we need a rebellion. We need to rebel against the status quo. Status quo has given us $17 trillion in debt. And frankly, that's been a little bit from both parties. So we do need an uprising, and I think Ted Cruz brought us on our feet. Got a lot of people talking. Obamacare is a disaster for the country, and we need to fight it.
All right, but I think even you said when last time you were with me, it's a numbers game. It's a prohibitive numbers game. So it looks unlikely to turn your way in the Senate, but this was about making a bigger statement. What did you mean by that?
Well, we may lose, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't fight. And I think we should fight for what we believe in so people can have a choice the next election. It may be that we don't win this time. In all likelihood, we won't. We don't have the Senate. We don't have the presidency.
Well, do you think you're going to
stand
put
up and fight.
any Democrats in the ultimate Senate vote?
A few Democrats will have a difficult vote. You know, there's about 7 seats that we have a chance of winning this time, where Romney got nearly 60% of the vote or more. And so there are several Democrats who are going to have a tough vote. Are they going to vote against the wishes of their people, and they're going to vote to continue funding Obamacare? I think it is a vote that has some ramifications in 2014.
Then what do you think of those who say you upset the system? You know, even John McCain was saying, you know, this has been debated aggressively, given the simple makeup at the time this law was put in force. Democrats had the upper hand. Then you had a follow-up election where the American people decided health care being the premier issue for the president. He was reelected. Elections have consequences. You guys just got to suck it up.
For 40 years, the top income bracket was 70%. Went all the way up to Ronald Reagan. Should we have just said, well, it's already been decided, the top bracket's 70%? Or should we have run a Ronald Reagan who said, high tax rates are crippling the economy, that's why we're in a recession, let's lower tax rates, even though it means going against 40 years of tradition of taxing the heck out of rich people. Let's lower taxes on everyone, and maybe we'll spur the economy. He was right. So Obamacare hasn't even been in place really at all, and we're still fighting against it. I think we should continue to fight against it. There can be disagreements on whether or not the government should be shut down. I personally think bad idea to shut down the government, but I also think...
Do you think this is leading to that, a shutdown?
No, I hope not. Yeah. But I'm saying good.
Would you be worried if we did have a shutdown?
Well, I am concerned. I don't want the government to shut down.
Do you think it would reflect ill on Tea Parties, conservatives, people like you, Senator Cruz?
I'm not sure who it does, but I don't want it to reflect on me because I don't want to shut the government down. But I do want to defund Obamacare. So are those mutually exclusive? See, the president says, oh, it's Republicans wanting 100% of what they want. That's exactly the opposite of the truth. The president wants 100% of Obamacare passed only by Democrats. It's his way or the highway, or he shuts down government. I don't want to shut down government. I'm looking for a middle ground. But the president and Harry Reid aren't allowing any
Well, let's talk about that middle ground then, Senator. Would it involve, if not killing the health care law, because as you acknowledge, that's an uphill battle, maybe delaying key provisions, let's say the employee mandate. If that were attached, let's say, to a debt ceiling hike and a 1-year delay in a key provision of the health care law, would that be on the road to satisfying a Rand Paul?
Compromise to me means making a bad bill less bad. One way is delaying a bad bill. You could delay the whole thing for a year. You could delay the employer mandate. That's what he's already doing, though. Through his kingly powers, he's delaying the employer mandate.
So if he's delaying the employer mandate, you might as well delay the employment mandate.
Why not delay the whole damn thing? The whole thing is a mistake.
I guess.
But I would accept a lot of permutations of that.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be the whole thing. It could be parts of things.
It isn't Republicans wanting everything. Right. It's Republicans wanting, we would even like to have a vote, for goodness sakes. We're not going to get a vote on anything that would modify or make Obamacare less bad. All of the complaints from the Teamsters, from Warren Buffett, from President Bill Clinton, from people across America, none of those complaints are going to be addressed through any votes or any amendments. And that is the Democrats and the president refusing to compromise, saying my way or the highway, we'll shut it down and we'll blame it on Republicans. But the president is the one refusing to compromise.
Do you think party leaders, Republican Party leaders, trash you, feed negative stuff on you and Senator Cruz and your ilk, if you will?
I think that with me, there aren't any negative things. So, I mean, I know people have looked, but there are no negative things to release on me.
Oh, well, you're not a team
maybe there's
player.
Maybe there's one or two.
You're not a team player.
No,
you're crazy.
No, I don't. I can't imagine really that they would. I mean, because I'm really a nice guy. So I mean, I can't imagine anybody would do that to me. But
how do you feel about the Senator McConnell, who thinks that this was essentially a wasted effort what Cruz did, or Senator McCain, who kind of echoes that view?
See, I think there can be unfairness on both sides of that. For one, I think it's unfair to characterize people in the Republican caucus as being for funding Obamacare. There's not one member that is. There are 46 members who voted against it, and there are 46 members who this week will vote to defund it.
You just differ on strategy. A
little bit on strategy, but I also don't like to characterize. I'm not willing to characterize members of my caucus as being for Obamacare, because that's not true. They're
not for what you're doing, a lot of them.
They don't agree, and that's fine. We can not always agree on tactics. But I don't want to characterize them as being for Obamacare because that's not accurate.
Right.
There's not one Republican in the Senate or in the House that's for Obamacare, and every one of us is united in believing in defunding it.
By the way, have you and Chris Christie ever talked again after that dust up?
I saw him just the other night.
Everything was hunky-dory?
I think it's getting better. We're working on it. We're in counseling, and we're working.
Because he doesn't live that far down the street from me. Maybe I could.
Well, maybe you could be an intermediary.
Italian sausage.
We were looking to have a beer together, and that didn't work out. So now I think he's got to come to Kentucky, but it may have to be bourbon.
I think people could live with bourbon. Senator, thank you very, very much.
Thanks.
Very good having you. All right, don't forget.